Welcome to a bonus episode of Pot. I'm Daniel.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tanya.
That's three of us.
Yeah, all right. Since we're in the height of the Halloween season, we thought it would be fun to count down our 5 favorite vampire films.
How many films? Did you say 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 beautiful films.
So many choices. Scary vampires, funny vampires, sexy vampires, all the damn vampires.
If you want more Halloween wisdom, check out last season's bonus episode covering our top 5 Halloween films.
5 beautiful vampires.
Okay, guys, here we go. Hopefully our lists don't suck.
I just got that.
Wah, wah. Oh, Tanya.
Hey, I'm sorry. I had to do the plenty pun. It was necessary.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Speaking as a dad, I heartily approve of that joke.
Yay. Oh my God, I'm a master of dad jokes. I love it. That's fantastic.
All right. Well, let's get to our top 5 vampire films or series. And we will start with Tanya.
Oh crap, hang on. Hold please. Let me get to my list.
And technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. This is what an episode is like when I don't edit it.
It's still great. Our little lovely banter is really entertaining to us. It's fun.
I love the qualifier.
And you get the fully unhinged intro.
Yes.
With Ben's ad lib.
Oh,
5!
fantastic.
I'm reading the script going, wow, wait. Oh, never mind. Whatever.
Okay, so my number 5 is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, specifically the television series, based on the movie and characters created by Joss Whedon, who did Firefly, who I know the 3 of us all love desperately, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., among a million other things. He wrote several episodes for the series. Great cast. We have Sarah Michelle Gellar, Nicholas Brendan, Allison Hannigan, Seth Green, David Boreanaz, James Marsters, and many, 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 many others. Joss Whedon wrote a lot of the episodes, and he just has this way with quirky, odd, funny crap. He just has this gift. And I just loved the show. I thought it was super, super great. The Halloween episodes were gold. Yeah. Sorry, I'm like, this is not going as eloquently as I hope, but that's normal for me.
All right.
Anyway, the characters are really well written, really engrossing, and it was just 5 seasons of really awesomeness. It's currently streaming on Hulu. For anyone who hasn't seen it, I definitely recommend giving it a gander. And I just read that they're actually rebooting it. I don't know how I feel about that. It's supposed to be coming out in 2023. I feel like maybe it's not necessary, and maybe people should come up with new shit. But let's just
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Come up with new shit, people. Stop taking old stuff and just ruining it. I mean, remaking it.
No, you were right the first time. With very, very few exceptions. One of which I will mention tonight.
Why don't you give us your number 5 here, Ben? What do you got?
My number 5, I'm going to create a massive controversy here.
Ooh.
and agree 100% with Tanya.
Oh,
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the series.
wow.
One of my 5 all-time favorites. Simply because, well, okay. Somebody somewhere, at least one of our 13 or so viewers may have detected that I am a bit of a goofball, and I love the goofy humor stuff. So this, that sounds familiar. So Buffy, of course, was right up my alley as far as a fun, delightful show. There was Spike, there was Angel, there was Harmony as one of the most absurd vampires ever.
Yes.
Just endless fun. I still, to this day, sometimes when I'm suffering from a brain cloud, I will quote one of my favorite lines that I continue to remember years later. It was one of Buffy's lines. She was just completely exhausted and done. The world was almost on fire. And someone came and asked her a question. She said, I don't know. I'm in a place where all I can think is fire bad, tree pretty. And so fire bad, tree pretty comes up for me more than I should probably admit on a public outlet. So Daniel, you're number 5.
Was that Allison Hannigan who said it? Or who said that?
No, that was Buffy.
Oh, it was Buffy. Oh, okay.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Huh. You know, and I watched that series. It's you'll hear me talk about it at some point tonight. But I didn't remember that line. Interesting. Well, my number 5 is actually a tie because I didn't have the heart to throw one of these onto the honorable mention list. So it's 1992's Dracula with Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder, Anthony Hopkins, Keanu Reeves, and there's and I'm gonna skip down the cast a little bit and go to Tom Waits because he was awesome as Redfield in that. Did you see that one? It's a beauty.
I have absolutely no memory of that whatsoever.
The performances are astounding. The visuals are fucking fabulous. It is just a wonderful version of Dracula.
I'm sorry, what was the year again?
1992.
Oh, I was under a rock. Okay.
Well, there you go. That would be why. That's the only reason you could miss that film.
But with that cast, you were listing off the cast, and I was surprised I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah. So it's in the 5 spot with another great film, and you can see my background here. That would be Underworld 2003 with Kate Beckinsale, Scott Speedman, Michael Sheen, Shane Broley, and Bill Nighy. You can't go wrong with Bill Nighy ever.
Agreed.
Oh my goodness, that sounds delightful.
The Underworld is a wonderful story. It kind of reminds me of like the vampire gaming books that we used to have. Like we used to do vampire role-playing games.
Oh my gosh.
And the characters, I mean, they use guns with special bullets. And there's sort of this war going on between vampires and werewolves. And Kate Beckinsale is this ultra sexy vampire who just electrifies the screen. It's wonderful. It is a violence gore fest, but it is the stories are great, the visuals are also great. This is why I could not relegate it to the honorable mention list. And there you have it. There's my number 5. Tanya.
Yes.
There's a lot at stake here. Number 4.
Hey, dun dun. We can do dad jokes. It's amazing. All right. So my number 4.
That one actually hurt my heart a little bit, Daniel.
That's what I was aiming for.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. So my number 4 is another television show. I know I've talked about it before with you guys. It's so good. It is The Strain. It was on FX. It ran for 4 seasons from 2014 to 2017. It was co-written, basically it was a novel that was co-written by Guillermo del Toro and Chuck Hogan. They also wrote and produced the show. So the storyline is so tight. The lore is so intricate. Just a really great take on vampire lore. It's a little bit different than any vampire anything I've ever seen. Just really, really, really well done. Super creepy, super suspenseful. There are times where I watched it where I had to like put my hands over my eyes because I was like, oh my God, this is so stressful. I can't believe this is happening. And other times where you're like cheering, like I literally would like throw my hands up in the air and it's like just a really phenomenal show.
I think that still have not gotten around to that one. Still haven't.
You gotta see it. It's so good.
So much stuff to watch in so little time.
I know.
It sounds good though, and this review right here that you're giving is making it sound even more enticing.
Dude, it's incredible. And I think the thing that sets it apart is the acting is superlative. It's got an ensemble cast full of just great actors. You have Corey Stoll, David Bradley, who was in Thor and also in... No, not Thor. Damn it. Captain America and Harry Potter. For Ben. And then Kevin Durant, Jonathan Hyde. Just really, really fantastic actors. And they all did just exquisite work. And so even just to watch it for the performances, I think is worth it. It is streaming currently on Hulu for anyone who is interested in taking a gander, because it is highly worth it.
Cool. Ben, pop over to your 4.
Popping over to 4. I don't often enjoy spin-offs as much as the original series, but I have to go with Angel. The spin-off from Buffy the Vampire Slayer series. I enjoyed David Boreanaz's depiction of Angel. Joss Whedon really had hit his stride and knew what he wanted to do with more vampire stuff. So this is a show that didn't suffer as much as many others do from this season 1 itis. It was already fairly mature as a show when it began, and also introduced me, at least, to one of my all-time favorite actors, Christian Kane, who I don't remember him becoming a vampire himself. He gave great antagonist, and his character was supposed to be so serious through most of the series, but he turned out to be this amazing comedic actor as well. And of course, all kinds of more fun moments with both Angel and Spike. And the wee little puppet man. If you've never seen a tall, dark, and muscular, brooding, serious vampire turned into a Muppet, you really should treat yourself to checking out the series Angel.
I have watched that series.
I forgot about that.
Angel, I actually prefer Angel to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I like the spin-off better.
Yes. So. And so that's why this pairing is a remarkable pair for me, because I did enjoy the spin-off even more, and I really did enjoy the first series as well.
I felt the loss of Glenn Quinn after that first season was pretty big. It was a big drop off there, because he was my favorite character, and then he had life problems outside, and he overdosed and whatnot, but he was a great character, and once he was gone, I still enjoyed the series, but he was my draw on that first season. Yeah,
he was the demon assistant, right?
Yes,
something like that. Yeah, he was
demon
brilliant.
Assistant. Yeah,
I enjoyed the hell out of him. I
really missed him when he was gone.
Yeah.
On another note, I'm gonna move on to my number 4 here.
How about your number 4?
And I got a quote for you. What the fuck is going on here? It ain't what's going on, son. It's what's coming off your face. Clean off.
Oh my goodness.
Near Dark, 1987, with Adrian Pasdar, Lance Henriksen, Jeanette Goldstein, Jenny Wright, Joshua John Miller, Texas Vampires, guys. Adrian Pasdar is this Texan who drives around in his truck and he comes across a vampire, gets bitten, of course. It's a bit silly. It's very 80s, but Adrian
Pasdar, wasn't he also Jim Prophet?
Maybe.
In the series Prophet.
Maybe.
And then he was in Heroes, wasn't he?
I think he was, yeah.
Okay.
But in this is, I mean, this is 1987, and the chameleon actress Jeanette Goldstein's in this, and she's wonderful. But Lance Henriksen and Bill Paxton, they own the screen. They just own the screen.
I believe it.
If you haven't seen it, it's fun. It's very 80s. The music, everything. It's like the low rent Lost Boys. Okay.
That's quite a statement.
And I love this film, and I every chance I have to share it with somebody, I do. And even if they won't forgive me afterwards. So that's number 4. Tanya, you're up.
Okay, so my number 3 is I Am Legend. 2007 is when that was released.
Is that a vampire film?
I am calling it a vampire film.
I thought it was a zombie film.
No, it is. For me, it's vampires because they only come out at night. They've got little fangies.
They're zompires.
They're not. They're zompires. There we go.
Zompires.
Yes, and they transmit through their bite. So I'm still saying they're vampires in my world.
How do zombies transmit?
You know what? Let's forget I said that. But still,
I just can't stop thinking that zompires sounds like they're officiating a baseball game.
That's a great image. Oh my god, I feel like I need to make a B movie called Zompires.
No wonder they missed the call.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. I would watch that shit. Okay. In any case, I am considering this a vampire film. So based on the novel by Richard Matheson, the novel came out in the 1950s. It was also adapted into Omega Man and Last Man on Earth. It was directed by...
You just wanted to squeeze Richard Matheson in there. That's what this is.
It was directed by Francois Lawrence, who did Red Sparrow and the majority of the Hunger Games films. He did Constantine and tons of music videos. So he's really good at making just this really visual, visceral impact. You have Will Smith, Alice Braga, again, I'm not good at words, Alice Braga, Charlie Tahan, I'm not sure how to say his name, and the dog people, I'm just saying. The dog. The dog. Yes. Will Smith does an amazing job. I mean, he carries the film. This is probably, a lot of people might argue with my comparison here, but I think he carries the film in the same way that Tom Hanks carried Castaway, because basically it's just him in this role. He has such a great emotional range, really great at just being vulnerable, like when he's in the video store and talking to the mannequin, and just really, oh God, I have goosebumps. I think he just did an awesome job. He was great.
He was really good. And he didn't slap anybody.
That's true. He did not.
Ouch.
He did not. He might have
shot them or blew them up and
shot
stuff,
a couple people with arrows and shit, but that's okay. That's okay. They were zompires. It was necessary. But if you haven't seen the alternate ending to this film, you are robbing yourself of an amazing experience.
Have I seen it? I own. Oh, I think I've seen it. I own it.
It's so good. It changes the entire movie for me. I prefer the alternate ending to the original ending, and I believe that the alternate ending version is streaming right now on Amazon Prime. That is all.
Hey Ben.
Hey Daniel.
Number 3.
Number 3. All right, people are going to start thinking that I'm a little tiresome here and sort of repeating some, but I'm now going with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie. With one of my...
With Paul Rubens.
One of my favorite vampires of all time is Paul Rubens.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the reason to watch that film.
He ruined my jacket. Kill him a lot. I absolutely, I have to say, one of, if not my very favorite death scene in any movie ever.
Yeah.
And so much of that movie, it felt like I was transported back to my actual high school with so many of the kids I grew up with. Hashtag not all, but so many of them. Rutger Hauer seeming to have a decision difficulty whether he wanted to be serious or silly. It's very interesting. I still love pretty much everything I've seen Rutger Hauer do. This was simply one of his more indecisive roles. But the movie left an indelible impression, very fun. Perry and David Arquette as babies. And another fun interchange. You know, David Arquette as Benny has been turned into a vampire and is outside Luke Perry's bedroom window saying, "Let me in, Pike. I'm hungry." Pike looks outside, realizes he's on the second floor. Benny is floating in the air. He says, "You're floating, man! Come on, get out of here!" Which I thought was an endlessly funny response to "I'm hungry, Pike." Always rewatchable for me.
All right. Cool. Well, for number 3 from me, I'm going to go with the 1994 film Interview with the Vampire with Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Antonio Banderas, Christian Slater, and Kirsten Dunst. And I'm putting this film here. I mean, it could be higher. My top 3 are somewhat interchangeable. But I remember I read these books, and I thought, wow, this is one of the greatest things I've ever read. I absolutely adored Interview with the Vampire and the Vampire Lestat. Queen of the Damned, not so much. But when I heard Tom Cruise was going to play Lestat, I was extremely indignant, very upset. I was thinking, you've got to be kidding me. How is he going to pull this off? I was just every adjective you can think of upset about it. And turns out when Anne Rice had heard about it, she was also quite upset that they cast him.
I read that. Yeah.
To his credit, he proved us both wrong. And probably most people who heard that he was cast in that film. It was fabulous. It was a brilliant film. Brad Pitt was amazing. Kirsten Dunst was amazing. Antonio Banderas was just magnetic. And
yes,
I mean, one of my favorite lines is uttered by Tom Cruise as Lestat in this film, where he's trying to find Louis because Louis has run away
yes,
because he doesn't want to be a vampire. I mean,
I think I know the line.
All I need to find you, Louis, is to follow the corpses of rats.
Yes.
It tells you everything you need to know about Louis. He's killing rats because he doesn't want to kill people. He's such a tortured vampire. It is brilliant. And there's actually a new Interview with the Vampire series on right now, which I've been watching, and it's really good.
Really?
It's really good. Although I'm going to put the caveat on this that I would not have called it Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire, because it's not. They should have changed the names of the characters and taken Anne Rice's name off of it. It's a wonderful story, but it is not the damn book I read. So don't call it what it isn't. Just don't. Okay? Stop trying to reboot stuff. Write your own thing. All right. Onwards. Number 2, Tanya.
Daniel has feelings.
Yes, I like it. I like your feelings, Daniel. They're good. All right, so my number 2, The Lost Boys.
Yes.
1987, directed by Joel Schumacher. Powerhouse cast: Jason Patric, Kiefer Sutherland, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, the 2 Corys, Edward Herrmann. I never can remember, even though we've talked about this before, is it Diane Wiest or Diane Weiss?
Wiest.
Diane Wiest, Jamie Gertz, and I could go on and on and on. This movie came out the summer before my sophomore year in high school, and I saw it in the theater more times than I can count. Started my obsession with vampires, in a major, major way. Bonded me to one of my favorite people on the planet who I'm still dear friends with to this day. You have like super hot, super cool vampires who wear really awesome clothes. It's just great. And when you were that age, like, who did not want to be them? I don't know. Maybe we were just like batshit crazy. That's possible.
Yeah.
But I remember once, me and my friend who had bonded over this movie, we were in one of the quads at high school, and I believe school was out, but we were screaming in the center of the quad, "Sleep all day, party all night. It's fun to be a vampire!" Like we were insane. But yes, I love that film. It's fun. It was well written, well acted. The Frog Brothers were so great. Just a great movie. Yes.
Now you know what we are. Now you know what you are. You'll never grow old, Michael, and you'll never die.
But you must feed. Yes, and it's streaming on Paramount Plus for anyone who has not seen it or wants to watch it again.
Woohoo!
Yes.
Yeah. Ben. Number two. Number two.
So, unlike our bottom five, this number two is a good thing. However, I'm going to keep in with my theme, I guess, shtick of playing on the number two. My number two is a tie. Two movies tied for second place, and they happen to be twins. Once again, this is another one of those rare times when I will happily endorse a remake. This is the only movie I can remember enjoying the remake. The last one was a series, this one's a movie. I am talking about the grand cinematic masterpieces, Fright Night.
Oh, okay.
The first, starring Christopher Sarandon as Jerry Dandridge, the main bad guy vampire. He gave an absolutely glorious, almost Humperdinck-like performance as a vampire. And actually, the girl Amy, I'm blanking on the actress's name now, but anyway, they had one scene where she was turned into a vampire and had this ferocious, tangled briar snarl of sharp dagger fangs that legitimately scared me, and I was already a teenager. It was not that easy to scare me with spooky stories anymore. And with the remake, I was not expecting to love it. I wanted to see it. Watched it recently with my brother, and we both agreed they actually not only did it credit, but even got it a teeny bit better.
Wow.
And I would echo that, yeah.
And with Colin Farrell, he did such a better job of acting than I had come to expect from characters like
Bullseye.
Bullseye, thank you. Throws things and never misses. So I suspect that was not Colin Farrell's fault. That might have been the directing.
Yeah.
But in this movie, Fright Night, Colin Farrell, he was brilliant. He was absolutely wonderful. He was magnetic and creepy and downright scary, and yet still magnetic. It was marvelous.
When he's on, he's really on. When he's off, well, that leads me to my number two. So no list would be complete without putting this on here. 1931's Dracula, Bela Lugosi, Helen Chandler, David Manners. I don't drink wine.
Nice.
I mean, ambiance, mood. It is everything you want out of a vampire film. It's a really great retelling of Bram Stoker's story. You know, there's obviously going to be some, changes, but it's brilliant. Bela Lugosi established himself as a star with this. In fact, was eventually buried in his cape. So
Is that right?
yeah, he chose to be buried in his cape, which you learn in the
Nice.
movie Ed Wood, which I'm going to plug right now because that is a brilliant freaking film. But yeah, Dracula 1931. Watch it if you haven't watched it. It is worth it. It still holds up to this day.
Fantastic.
One.
All right, so my number one, actually, I believe Daniel was your number 5, Bram Stoker's Dracula, 1992.
All right.
So I won't rehash, all of
Please
the people
do.
who are in it, but I will just talk about how much I love this film. Visually, it's so stunning. The sets, the backgrounds, the costuming was beautiful. The score was incredible. Well acted. I mean, of course, with the powerhouse actors that are in that film, how could it not be? Gary Oldman as Dracula was insane. I mean, he's just a master anyway. I mean, I think any role he ever does, he brings it to life in a way that is indescribable. But he was fantastic. And I, as you know, don't enjoy romantic movies, but for me, this was a romance that I loved, and it really was a romance.
Dark and twisted, but romantic.
Well, no, but it's. I mean, it was totally a love story, and one of the most romantic lines ever uttered came from this movie when he says, "I've crossed oceans of time to find you." Like, oh my God, really, just amazing.
One
Very
word,
romantic.
One word comes to my mind when I think of this film: shadow. And if you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now Ben has to watch it. He's gonna have to figure it out.
Yes, Ben.
You will know when you
It's
see it.
so good.
Yeah, I've actually already been thinking, Daniel, I should arrange a weekend and come up and visit, and we should watch vampire movies.
You got it. It's
Because-
gonna have to be after the Dickens season because I'm literally gonna lose every single weekend until like mid-December now, late December.
Is that already started?
It hasn't started. It's going to in November here.
Think
You're at number 1, Ben.
I'm at number 1.
You're at number 1.
I'm at number 1. We have already heard this mentioned here tonight, or today, or this afternoon, whenever you happen to be listening. My number 1 was Tanya's number 2, The Lost Boys.
Woohoo!
If we're talking vampire movies, this one is my tippy top favorite. I love the feel. I love everything that Tanya has already mentioned. Plus, I also love the funny bits.
Yeah.
My brother and I still quote to each other, "My own brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire."
One thing I never liked about Santa Clara is all the damn vampires.
And vampires, yes. Love the simple fact that the big hero of the movie in the end, Grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But don't you peel that mailing label off the TV guide. You might be tempted, but don't do it.
Yeah.
I endlessly enjoy this movie. The Frog Brothers. I might or might not have already planned years ago to have them appear as NPCs in an upcoming game.
Death by stereo.
It's if it can be. Not sure we can get away with saying this anymore in this day and age with today's sensibilities, but they took teenagers and turned them into charming versions of psychopathic killers.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. Definitely.
So yeah, anybody out there wants to hate on me for being such a horrible human being for putting those words together in that order, you go right ahead. I stand by my evaluation of the Frog Brothers, who I really enjoy. I would have to look it up. It's been a while since I've rewatched, but aren't their names Edgar and Alan Frog?
Yes. Edgar and Alan Frog.
I always loved the fact that you put their names together and you get Poe. And I wondered if the writers had done that on purpose.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Probably.
So my number 1, Lost Boys.
Awesome.
And I As
Yay.
as Tanya did, I went and rewatched it again and again and again in the theaters. Loved it. So Daniel, tell us about your number one.
What?
Very excellent.
You don't like rice? Tell me, Michael. How could a billion Chinese people be wrong?
Yay.
Number one, Lost Boys, 1987.
Yes.
Jason Patrick, Jamie Gertz, Corey Haim, all the names that Tanya already rattled off because she got to it first. But I mean, okay.
That's why
here,
she put it at number 2, so she could steal our thunder.
Here you go. Nobody. The people of Lost Boys, the production, let's put a shirtless guy with a saxophone in here to play this song.
Yes.
Brilliance. Absolute brilliance. Everything about this movie is just fun and wonderful. It is my favorite vampire film of all time. Pretty sure it's my mom's favorite vampire film of all time as well. The actors are
Nice.
all perfect. I think this is where my crush with Jamie Gertz began. You know, I was young and impressionable. Michael's nice. I like Michael. The whole everything. It's just Edward Herman. When you find out he's the head vampire, it's so great. Never fight a vampire girl. And Grandpa with his, Windex aftershave.
Yes.
I mean, this is a movie I could talk about for an hour, and we probably should devote an entire episode to the Lost Boys.
Probably should.
Yeah. So I'm not
Yes.
gonna. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
I'm not going to keep talking about it now because I think we will dedicate an episode to Lost Boys. So let's get on to honorable mentions. Tanya,
Yes.
Do you have
my
any honorable mentions?
honorable
Oh, okay.
mentions? I do have honorable mentions.
how did I know?
If I can get to them.
Oh, well then, Ben, you do.
All right. So I will rattle through the list
Never mind.
pretty quickly.
All right, go for it.
All right. So from dusk till dawn. And then I also have Nosferatu and 1931 Dracula because they set the standard for what was to come. And I think everything has borrowed from them. Like they really just created what the genre should be. And no one's really deviated from that since its inception with them. Fright Night and its remake, echoing Ben. Underworld, echoing you. Really the reason I love it is because of the mythology. The werewolves I thought were awesome. I love their interplay was great. I also have Near Dark on the list, John Carpenter's Vampires, and Blade 2, not 1.
Oh, really?
Not 3, but 2 was really good. It was campy, cheesy, excellent goodness. Midnight Mass, for those of you who haven't seen it, it is a Netflix series, short run. I think it's only like 6 or 8 episodes long. Worth a gander. It is full of soliloquies and it's very slow paced, but shit hits the fan and then everything escalates really quickly, and it was really, really amazing. So I recommend that too.
Hey, going back
But
to
those
Blade.
are my honorables.
Going back to Blade. When you were watching the movie Twilight, did you just kind of wish Blade would show up at some point? I just kept thinking, where's Wesley Snipes? Yeah. Anyway, Ben, I'm sorry. Go ahead and do your honorable mentions here.
I do not have many honorable mentions. I have one, and my one is in a bit of a gray area, and so that's why I relegated it to honorable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
But having said that, I will say that my love of this story, this property, and this portrayal of a vampire supersedes all of the others put together. And this is, of course, the Children's Television Workshop classic, Sesame Street. The Count is the pinnacle vampire in all of human history.
Tanya, you nailed it. You called it right away. She even put it in the script.
Yep.
Psychic.
She she has a pretty good read on me in this case.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, so you only had the one.
That's
I guess
super cool.
I will go on and do my
Yeah.
honorable mentions here. My first one isn't really a vampire film, but there is a person who plays a vampire because it's Ed Wood, and it's a wonderful Halloween time film. Martin Landau won an Academy Award for his portrayal of Bela Lugosi in this film. It is brilliant, gives me chills. And it's mostly kind of a goofy film about like one of the worst directors of all time. But there are moments that are so good in this film that like a little almost bring me to tears. It's so good. So Ed Wood, 1994, Johnny Depp, Martin Landau, Bill Murray, Sarah Jessica Parker, Jeffrey Jones. Jeffrey Jones plays a great character in this. He's Criswell, he's the prognosticator. He's a bullshit artist that tells you the future. But one of my favorite lines in the films comes from him. It says, "Future events such as these will affect you in the future."
Nice.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Forever Knight was a television show that ran from 1992 to 1996 with Geraint Lynn Davies, Catherine Disher, Nigel Bennett, John Capellas, and he's not a janitor.
Yay.
All right. And it's brilliant. It's a television series about a vampire who is a detective and gets the night shift by saying that he has a disease to the sun. He's allergic to the sun or something. So they put him on the night shift, and he's become a detective to sort of, the same tired vampire trope of, I need to be more human and pay for the sins that I've done throughout time. He ends up being stalked later on by some of his old compatriots from way back in the day. It was a great series, and I loved watching it. And the ending they left for it was rather open. It was nice. Also on my honorable mentions, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Great. I remember that show.
Do you remember it? Yeah. It was a good show.
Yeah, I watched it. I forgot it existed.
So I'm going on to my next one, which is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the series, 1997 to 2003. I didn't really like the film as much. I'm sorry to burst the bubble there, but I did love, Pee-wee's part in it. I thought that was wonderful, the death scene especially. But the series was so much better for me. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Nicholas Brennan, Allison Hannigan, Anthony Head, James Marsters, Emma Caulfield, Michelle Trachtenberg, Charisma Carpenter. Yes, all of those people, they were all fantastic in the series. And while it was silly at times and it didn't take itself too seriously, it had some wonderful moments in it. And of course, you have Joss Whedon's musical numbers, which really break up the monotony of the formula of the show. And that always made me happy. And the next one, of course, is Angel, which I actually liked better. That was 1999-2004, and you already spoke about Angel fairly well in depth. So my next one is Dracula 1979 with Frank Langella, Laurence Olivier, Donald Pleasance, Kate Nelligan, Walter Mirisch.
Oh.
It's a very kind of sexy, romantic, vampire film. My mom loves it. She had the soundtrack, and the soundtrack's wonderful. But 1970s, who would have thought? It's worth a watch. And at the very end of my list here for my honorable mentions, I had to put on Nosferatu from 1922 with Max Schreck, Greta Schroeder, Gustav von Wangenheim. Why? It's the first vampire film ever. It's a prime example of the German expressionist movement. Mood, feel, the vampire look, the movements, everything. And Tanya, you said it, they simply borrowed from these films, these early visionary films that sort of established the vampire look. So no list would be complete. The reason it didn't make my top 5 though is rewatchability. It's something that once you've kind of seen it, you've seen it. So, unless you're studying in film class for like, oh, this is how you do one of these shots. It's not something I can keep rewatching. But that's it. Those are my honorable mentions. Haha.
Nice.
Alrighty.
That was a very good plethora of vampire options.
Well, thanks for your list.
Very nice.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess that's it, guys. That was our top 5 vampire films, series, etc. Happy Halloween. Ha, 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 ha. There's the camera. Ha, 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 ha. All right, Ben, tell him stuff.
Everybody,
I don't have a script, goddammit.
Everybody, we've got stuff, and we've got it somewhere, and we might or might not have it available. Daniel can tell you more.
Yeah, poppodcast.com. That's where you want to go. We have a little button that says shop. If you want to buy shirts, if you want to buy swag, if you want to buy, mugs with the Popped logo on it, because who doesn't? Really?
Everybody loves their mugs.
Yeah. And you can watch previous episodes of our show on there. See all of our top 5 lists. Well, not see them, but you can listen to them. And you can listen to every episode we've done, which you really should. There's a lot of episodes out there that are kind of under listened to that really need listening. They need love. Give them love, people. All right. What else is there to say? I don't know. We're on all the socials: Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Please go there, interact with us. It really helps us get noticed. Go to all of the, what are they called? Podcast catchers that we're on. I can't even think of the name of them. We're on Spotify, Apple, and what's my favorite one? I can't even think of it. Audible, that's it. You can actually leave on Apple and Audible. You can leave a review, and we would love that. We need to hear those. Those really help us. They help us get noticed, and obviously 5 stars each time. Why would you give us anything less than 5 stars? We know where you live. All right, and with that, thanks everyone. We're off, and we're leaving as well.
Thank you.